Welcome to AtVenture DealFlow, the podcast where I talk to fundraising founders and the investors who back them. Today, I'm speaking with Warnyta Minnaard, an active angel investor and member of the Health Investment Committee at AtVenture Platform. Warnyta worked as an investment manager before at Noaber and Donor Impact Invest Fund, and then she transitioned fully to a role as co-founder of Missie Tumor Onbekend and project manager at the Netherlands Cancer Agenda. Warnyta, I'm very happy to have you here today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Maybe first a little bit about yourself, because I just introduced you as the co-founder of Missie Tumor Onbekend. Maybe just to explain a little bit, because it's a Dutch name. Maybe nice to elaborate a little bit on what you are doing in your working
Yes,
life.
yes, certainly. So in my working life, I fully focus on oncology. So Missie Tumor Onbekend is a Dutch patient organization and advocacy organization that tries to help specifically patients with cancer of unknown primary, and we're trying to advocate to help them to get access to better diagnostics, better treatments, and alongside that, I also work as a project manager with the Netherlands Cancer Agenda, where we are looking to improve and innovate the whole oncology organization of care and availability of treatments, etc. In the Netherlands, and it's really has a future scope. So we're looking what can the Netherlands do to go beyond what we have today, but maybe in 2032, what should the oncology landscape look like? So that's what I do, and I started that due to a personal experience where I lost someone very close to me that passed away from cancer, and that really changed my whole perspective on life and my wish to focus a bit more, but giving back and helping patients in a similar situation. So I transitioned a bit from my role in finance and investments more into this space of the impact area. But then I wanted to, I felt like I want to stop being active as a VC investor, but I really want to sort of continue to do so. But then, given I focus on impact in my daily life, I was thinking maybe I can become an angel investor, focusing specifically on impact investing.
Yeah. So you do actually the two at the same time.
Yes.
Very beautiful mission what you have with your day-to-day work. I think you're doing very important work, and yeah, it's beautiful that you just follow your own passion and mission there. So well done. And of course, we are very happy to have you on board at AtVenture Platform as well, because you really bring a lot of valuable experience as well. So your previous experience as an investment manager, but now also as a founder yourself, and of course working in this field. So can you share a little bit for the founders that are actually listening, that if they're submitting their pitch deck to you, how do you evaluate them? How do you
Yeah.
look at their pitch decks?
And I think you already mentioned it nicely. Like, I decided to really follow my passion, and that is actually what motivates me on a day-to-day basis, because it's a charity that I run, so it's not a company. So it's also
Yeah.
something you have to do with extra motivation. So for me, it all starts with motivation and passion. If I want to meet a founder, I want to hear them speak. I don't want to just look at a pitch deck. I really need to hear their story. Why are they doing this? Not necessarily it has to be something that they've experienced themselves, but they have to be able to speak to people who have experienced it, or they really need to show me why is this a problem and why are they the person or the team that is going to help solve this
To
problem.
solve this. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So it starts with
Yeah.
the founder, and then automatically to the team, because you can have a passion and have a great idea, but in the end there are only a few people who can do all roles themselves. So you need to be able to build a strong team to help you execute the plan, and it also
Uh-huh.
needs to be in the right order, because so it has to start with the founder. The founder has to do the nitty-gritty work, has to go through the trenches, learn their lessons, and then gradually build up the team. So that's also for me very important. And
Yeah.
then, of course, I think as a third point, sort of the problem that is there, I always look for like an innovative solution, something that is new, that can also help change the world, because for me it's all about impact. It's not per se so much about personal gain. Of course, it's great if an investment returns, but for me it has to have an impact on society. So
Yeah.
if they're trying to solve that problem, there can be a business case. Yes, there must be a business case, but it also needs to be good for society. So I'm always looking for that sort of win-win situation.
Yeah. Yeah, like so what we say, it shouldn't be harmful for people and planet, but you actually say it should make the people and planet better, right? So
Yes,
that's
exactly.
basically
For me, that is really a
what your core is.
priority.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you say then okay, the team, the motivation, the passion, founder, does it need to be two founders? Can it be one founder? How do you see that?
Um, I think it depends a bit on what stage we're investing. And for me personally, I like the early stage because I also feel as an investor, I want to come in that sort of period of time where no other investors are maybe willing to look at it yet, or they're really, it's like it's almost like the angels have to pick it up, otherwise it doesn't grow further. And I like to be that angel that helps them grow into that journey, so that you're sort of not stopping in that valley of that, basically, that you can get out of that there. So I
Yeah,
think it can be one founder, but ideally it's already a team, because like I said, there's a few people who can do everything
yeah,
themselves. But yeah, it can also be that it's a founder that's already looking for someone, or maybe can ask advice to the angels. Okay, what type of person can help me, or can you maybe give me some advice on who could actually join my mission? And personally, I do think it's quite hard to find, as a founder, someone who's likewise as equally as motivated as you are. So, as a founder, you also need to be very critical, like who do you bring on board? So it's not an
yeah,
absolute must to be more, but ideally, yes.
yeah. Yeah, I understand. I understand what you say. It needs to be sort of natural in the beginning that you already have a co-founder or already have a team there.
Yeah,
Otherwise, sometimes it's very difficult to find a co-founder, right, with the same mission
exactly.
and a passion. And you say, okay, for me, the impact is the most important. The people and the founders and the team. Does it need to be tech solution? I mean, it needs to be innovative, like you say, but can it be a consumer product, or how do you see that?
Yeah, I do think the tech element is important because it, of course, ideally it's scalable as well. If you really want
Yeah,
to make that societal impact, you should have something that can, help
skill. Yeah.
more than just one person. So technology helps there a lot. My personal preference, consumer products are okay, but for me, I often also think about, like, not everyone can usually afford such products, because often innovations come at a cost, and I totally understand that. So for me, it's not a must that it is a consumer product. Ideally, it can be maybe reimbursed, or it can become part of, like, another sort of finance stream. But
Yeah.
I'm not against it. But yeah, for me, I think it's, in the end, it can have a consumer part, but I like it to be sort of embedded in the system, because also my focus is mostly on health investments. I also look at other sectors, but in the health sector, it's an absolute must that it has to have some sort of roadmap towards reimbursement, or it needs to become part of the sort of the financial stream, that is part of the hospital finances, or that it has sort of, there are meetings with insurance companies to see how this could be reimbursed. I think if that's not there, for me, that doesn't work, because, in the end, healthcare should be equitable for all. And I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to work if it's a solution
Only
that
for the
only
happy
there.
few.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, then actually it's not really it's not making the impact that you would want
Exactly.
to make it. And so okay, so that's
And also
another
because I've
focus point of view.
seen in
Yeah.
the past that startups that start with, like, a consumer product, often they want to move into that more systematic reimbursement. It's hard to get in there if you don't have that idea from the beginning, or at least the idea to create that roadmap. Then usually it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and one question I always get from founders is on traction, right? So because you're also investing in very early stage, pre-seed, seed, and sometimes yeah, there is no revenue. Especially I think with health propositions, there most of the times there is no revenue yet. What 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 else can they show to investors, to the outside world in their pitch deck, in their pitch as traction? What are the things you're looking at?
Now, for example, if you have a product that ultimately needs to be sold into hospitals, or maybe like the pharma, etc. So, number of meetings you have with hospitals, with pharma, are they willing to try your product? Maybe you have an agreement to maybe test the product in the future. Something that really shows that who are your customers, and how will they access your product, and do they already have you on the radar, or are you, you need to be visible to them. So I do think that can
Yeah,
also help. And of course, you don't have sales yet, but maybe there can be a pilot where you can get some revenue going. I think that is really, really key. And I think also, like, especially in the sort of more medtech investments. There's lots of investment that needs to happen at the front. You need to make sure that you have your suppliers ready. So I think you can show a lot of the back work that you're doing before
Yeah.
coming to revenue. And I think for
Yeah.
me that is really really key. So I think if I would summarize it, that you sort of are visible with all the key stakeholders that you would need to get your product towards revenue. That you have
Yeah.
some traction with these stakeholders.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. In terms of geographies, are you investing only in the Netherlands or you yourself personally? What is your focus there?
So far, I've only done that in the Netherlands, also because I like to be somewhat close to the company that I invest in, so that I can also maybe help them out with my network, or I could maybe visit them and see what's happening.
Uh-huh.
As I would like to be an active investor as much as I can, but maybe I will expand my scope as well. But for now, I focus on the Netherlands.
Yeah.
Also because I really have seen, there's a lot of impact you can make abroad, but there's still a lot of challenges that we have here at home. And, I'm living here in the Netherlands. I want to contribute to, a better Netherlands. So maybe I can do that by actively investing in startups that have great ideas that can benefit our society.
Yeah. No, and I see it that you're an active in investor, and you say it yourself already. So I can help them maybe with my network. I can visit them. What do you see as your value add to founders that you are investing in? So why should they be
Um,
happy that you are on the cap table, basically?
No, I've been active in the health space for a couple of years. I wouldn't say that
Uh-huh.
I'm an expert per se, but on certain topics, I have a fairly strong network that I can help the
And
founders
which
with.
topics are that you really have a strong network on?
Mostly, I would say in the oncology area.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And there are quite a few innovations that ultimately have to play a role in the oncology space. So that for me could really help. Through my previous roles, I also have spoken to many sort of more people who are active in the women's health space. So
Yeah.
that could also be something that I can contribute. And I think more as like I don't know how you say that in English, more as like a sparring partner that you sort of
Yeah. I
if they
think it's
have
the same.
a
I think it's the
yeah,
same word in
if they
English
have a
actually. Yeah.
challenge,
Yeah.
maybe on the strategy side or on the business model going forward, happy to jump on a call and be sort of a pair of listening ears, because
Yeah.
I'm active, but I'm also not there on a daily basis. So maybe it can help sometimes to just touch base and say, this is our idea, this is what we're thinking. Does it make any sense? Do you have any advice? Something like that.
Yeah, yeah, because that's another point I think that a lot of investors actually raise that they feel that the communication from founders towards them, so towards the investors, is sometimes lacking a bit behind. So they're not always asking for feedback or not always proactively sharing updates or asking for help. How do you see that? What will be your preferred way of communicating with founders?
Once I've invested in them, it's always nice to maybe get like at least a quarterly update.
Yeah,
And I would say, the quarterly update can come with maybe a quick digital call with some updates. And it would say at least once a year, a personal meeting, and that can be organized together with other investors or other angels. And I do think on an ad hoc basis, email is always good, but some founders I'm close with as well, so then they can also send me a message directly on WhatsApp, for example. I always appreciate the direct upfront request, and sometimes I can't help. I will say that as well, and it never hurts to ask. I think you're
yeah.
you're right in saying that a lot of founders probably think, oh, maybe I should not ask this, or I'm not sure. But you as a founder, you learn by doing. So we can't expect you to know it all, right?
No. And you need, I mean, in the end, the investors also have the best,
Yeah. And
right?
it's
They
also
also want the
nice to
company.
help, right? It's also
Yeah,
nice to
yeah,
get a call from the founders like, oh, what are you thinking? Maybe you could
yeah.
help. Yeah, it's nice to
Yeah,
it's
no, it makes sense. And okay, so this is your personal view, and of course, you're also part of the health investment committee of AtVenture Platform. Can you share a bit on how you are evaluating propositions there? Because, like you said already before, especially medtech, there is a much longer timeline. What are you looking at? Are there differences versus other sectors? How are you doing that?
Yeah, so I think I touched upon it already a bit. I think for health investments, for me, it's really a crucial point. Like, how is this at some point going to integrate with the health system? How are the stakeholders like hospitals, clinicians, researchers, sometimes the Ministry of Health or health insurance companies, how are they gonna use your product? And have you thought about like all the legal implications there as well?
Uh-huh.
I think that is for me really, really a key criteria for me. It also works as a sense check. If they think that's a product, oh, we're just gonna sell it to consumer, and that's not gonna fly for me. And when it's about healthcare, and I also often think about, sometimes people are all about like, okay, it needs to be the largest group of people that are able to use this product. But for me, like I said before, I focus really on impact first. So if you have a very good product that maybe is, helping people with a rare disease, for me, that's actually a plus as well, because, often these are categories of patients or people that are overlooked.
Yeah.
And, everybody wants to build scale and wants to be the biggest company. But in the end, sometimes you can have a very good product that is really changing the needle for some people, or changing, lives for people that where it really matters. So for me, I also really look at like who's your target group,
Yeah.
and yeah, you cannot say, oh, in the end it's gonna be for all the old people in the Netherlands that ultimately can get sick. Yeah, that's not gonna fly. It needs to be specific, and it needs to be really a product that they could appreciate.
Yeah, a good point indeed. I think for regular type of funding, sometimes we see so saying, "Oh, it's too niche or it's too small,"
Exactly.
but then actually it is still very very important, because you can actually make the biggest impact maybe there for these patients or people. Yeah, and if you look at the femtech sector, because you mentioned that also briefly, is it's still really underfunded, right? How do you think? I mean, anyway, there is a big gap there between women health and men health. What do you think? This is the reason behind it. I mean, is it
I
because
think
there's too many male investors, or is there? I don't know.
No, I think it's like the system as a whole. Like if you start from, for example, clinical trials, often the trial patients are mostly men. It's often where men who are working setting up the trials. So from really like a long time ago, that has been the standard. And nowadays it's much more, there's much more knowledge that women are not small men. Often it was thought like, okay, if we can do this for men, maybe we should have the doses for women, and then we're good to go.
Yeah,
So I think it is just something that was a mindset, and I'm happy that in the current day and age we're very much aware that this is not the right way to do it, and we should try to make up for it. And I think the same applies also to diversity, right? A lot of testing people are often people from one type of background. The world is
yeah.
much more diverse, so I think we should. There's still lots of things we can improve on, and the same, I think we need diversity, we need representation, and I think that's why as a female investor, I often really appreciate if there's a female founder. It's not like an absolute must, but I think for me, I always appreciate that, because I also know
Yeah,
as a
just you
female
like the
founder, it's more
diversity.
challenging.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
I appreciate the
exactly.
diversity, exactly.
Yeah, yeah. So it can be diversity in all aspects, right? It can be gender,
Yes.
can be yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So for
No,
example, an all male
yeah,
team in a femtech startup, that doesn't make sense to me at all.
yeah. Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's so well in a femtech. I don't think there's so many all male teams, but
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
At least
yeah,
you
yeah.
stand out. I'm not sure in the right way,
Yeah.
but you for sure
Yeah,
stand
you
out.
stand out. Yeah, that's true. I would like to ask you, so I'm a founder fundraising, let's say, can you give 3 tips to founders that are fundraising at the moment? What should they do in order to get funded?
I think it's really important to be out there. So make sure that go through like who could be your ideal investors. Which events are they targeting? Where will they be? How can I reach out to them? Make sure that you sort of prepare well,
Yeah,
and don't be afraid to speak up. So if you're in an event and you think this could be an interesting investor, maybe introduce yourself and say, maybe we could meet sometime. Here are my, can I reach out to you, etc. I would say, direct inbound via LinkedIn or social media often does not work. But, as we say in Dutch, the aanhouder wins. So
yeah.
sometimes it
You
can
can
help,
always
but
try. Yeah, yeah,
exactly. But I think the best way to go is to figure out where are these investors, what events or what ways can I professionally reach out to them. That can help. And I do think, yeah, try in the meeting that you have, in the first meeting that you have, the pitch deck, people can read through it themselves. It's not that important in the end. Of course, you want to look at it, but for the first meeting, you really want to sort sort of share your story. Okay, why are you doing this? Why is it important for the investor to remember you? Because, some investors get hundreds of pitch decks a week. You need to make sure that you stand out and that your
Yeah.
story is personal and relatable, and that people are curious to hear more and curious to look at your pitch deck in their own time. And if they then have questions, they come back to you.
Yeah. So your sort of elevator pitch, you need to
Exactly.
be
Yeah. I
ready
think
for
that is
that
really,
to explain your why and
yeah.
why you and that you should
Yeah.
have at hand,
Exactly. And I also
basically.
think
Yeah.
you need to be like the same as like figure out who's your customer, also figure out like who could be your investor and who's not your investor.
Yeah.
So because sometimes you see startups at every event and it's too broad, it's not specific, or there's no targeting why this fund could fit with you. And I think it's also important to work a bit on that.
To focus.
Exactly,
And
to
to
find the
really,
focus.
yeah. So if you're a health tech startup, that you shouldn't speak to, I don't know, an energy fund or something, right? So
Exactly,
that's
yeah.
what you that's what you mean. Yeah. I mean, it saves you time probably as well
Yeah, and
if you
also
don't
I
do
think
that. Yeah.
look into like what phase are they investing in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you would say, okay, yeah. But sometimes I think it's also valuable to speak to later stage investors in
exactly.
that
Yeah,
same sector, right? To get a bit of their feedback on, okay, could this be something you would be investing in later stage,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and,
That
and it
could
could
be,
also help, for example, if you have a good elevator pitch or you make a good impression, ask that investor, okay, maybe this is not for you, but can you maybe recommend me
yeah,
to investors
make
in
an
your
introduction
circle?
somewhere
Yeah,
else. Yeah, yeah,
exactly, because we all know that personal instructions are always the best.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, so and that's sometimes difficult for founders because they don't know where the investors are at. They don't know how to find them, or
Yeah.
it's that could be sometimes challenging. But indeed, you say, okay, if you go to events where there's also matchmaking settings, so you can actually meet the right investors and then take it from there. Basically, have your pitch ready and then you take it from there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what it also can really help in the beginning, of course, fundraise with friends and family in the beginning, find the right time to reach out. So there needs to
Yeah.
be, your elevator pitch needs to be there. You need to have your sort of the basis going, and
Some
so that
traction that you can
exactly some
show. Yeah.
traction, and that
Yeah.
and then take it from there.
Momentum.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And at the other side, let's say, so these are the things you would recommend. You already mentioned what you're looking at in a founder. What is it for you an absolute red flag when you are looking at when you're meeting a founder, or you're looking at a pitch deck, or you hear a pitch? What is something that you say, okay, now this is really a no-go?
I think what could be a no-go is that, of course, a financial model is a model, so it's not, and never it's going to be that exact figure number is
No,
never going to be the reality. But
fortunately not.
but
Yeah.
it exactly, but it needs to have some sort of credibility and no like ridiculous exaggeration. Because I think for me in the end, like I said, it's all it starts with impact. So you don't need to convince me with saying you're going to be in the millions within a few years, and it's going to fly everywhere, and the
Hmm.
Netherlands first, then you're going to the US, and then there, like, of course you need to have that sort of ambition, and it needs to have some credibility for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay.
then
So credible numbers, basically.
exactly, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what, if they're not credible, that would be a big red flag indeed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And for
Okay.
example, that doesn't apply specifically to the health sector, but also maybe in energy and other sectors. You need to understand in what sort of area you're innovating. And of course, innovations often come from people that are a bit outside of the field, and which makes a lot of sense because you can bring something new to maybe an industry that is a bit passive on certain things that need to be changed. But you need to also have some sort of intel into the sector, like, are they going to appreciate your problem? What are you going
Yeah.
to do to make
You
sure
need
that
to
they
speak their language as well.
exactly,
Yeah.
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 So that's, if there's absolutely nothing of that, that is also a major red flag.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then it will be very difficult to even get into
Exactly,
the
yeah.
sector. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then at
Okay.
least be honest about it. For example, like, this is what we're thinking, and we're coming from maybe a different background, but
Yeah.
for us this could be an idea. Yeah, we're looking into sort of breaking into that industry, which key stakeholders should we approach, etc. That would already be much better than just bragging that
Just
this.
say that they
Exactly.
would be able to make. Yeah, because maybe it's them. You can advise them to get some experts on board in their advisory board
Yeah,
or something like
exactly.
that, or at least the people they should check their assumptions with. Yeah. All right. If we look at it from the other side of the table, or the other side of the coin, so the investor side, what are the 3 tips you can actually give to people who want to become an investor? So who want to become an angel investor, join AtVenture Platform and become an investor. What can you tell to them?
Um, yeah, you can start simple. It might be, you can think, oh, this is such a daunting task. How can I actually enter this industry? It doesn't need to be something big. You can start small. So I would say, don't be afraid
Yeah.
to join and to start investing. And I would say in the beginning, try to see as many pitches as you can so that you sort of get a feeling like what's out there, what are sort of criteria that I can look into, what do I like, what do I not like, for example. Um, and I think what's also very nice, which I would like about being part of a group of angel investors, you don't need to do it. It's not necessary to do it all alone. You can,
No.
invest together and learn from each other and also sort of, build up that company together. And I think I would also advise that. I think especially in the beginning, it's quite difficult to do it on your own. So why
Yeah.
not do it together?
Yeah, yeah. You can also learn from each other, right? I think that's also
Exactly.
the fun part of it. And do you have a personal goal or mission with angel investing over the next years? How do you see that for yourself?
Yes, I would love to make more investments and also move a bit outside of the health sector. So the health sector
Okay.
is really my focus, and like I said, I really care about prevention, impact on society. There's still lots of things that can be done, so I'm looking for my next health investments certainly. But I also quite curious to see, okay, what else can I do? And I would say in the next maybe 5 years, it would be great to maybe do at least 5 new investments. That I
Yeah.
think would be nice. Yeah,
No, let's do that, right? I think
exactly.
nice journey. Yeah. Well, thank you, Vanita, for sharing your thoughts and your mission and your vision here. You're a great inspiration for many of us, and I think also you can be for many founders as well, with what you're doing yourself. So really following your mission and your passion. So well done. For people listening who want to become an angel, just check out adventureplatform.com. You find all the details there, and join me and Warnyta in our community.
Oh, yeah, and if people want to reach out to me directly, feel free to send me a message. I'm happy to have a chat.
So my name is Laurie Lancee. This was AtVenture DealFlow, and see you at the next great deal.